Hello there.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Jedi Knights. This is episode 23. I'm your moderator, Christian Buckley, joined once again by Mike Connors.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm pretty good. We have a nice special guest here today.
We do. Sitting between us, returning, Jack Martin.
Thanks for inviting me, guys. I've been dead for a few months now, but it's good to come back every once in a while on the podcast to be revived.
Oh, of course. I think we actually have some breaking news about this.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out your spirit found a host in a clone of yourself.
Yes.
Wow.
Imagine that.
That's crazy. It's
Right.
like we've seen this before.
It's really good writing.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic. It's just so convenient.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm shocked. I found out about this in a book.
Yeah.
That's not even out yet, I don't think.
It's like kind of half canon,
Yeah.
but like who's to say, really?
I guess we got to wait for the book to come out.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
as far as the discussion's concerned, you're alive because of a clone.
Right, sure.
Wonderful.
Let's say it. Let's say that.
So kicking off the show as we do every week, Star Wars. Jack has been nice enough to fill out our Mad Libs words this week.
I know some words.
He knows words.
You do. You're also journalism, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. A couple of wordsmiths right here. Mike and Jack.
Yeah, right.
All right. So this week, the title is Piloting a Pod Racer by Young Anakin Skywalker.
This wasn't the next one, I gotta say. I picked it because of the name.
All right.
Now this is pod racing.
Do you want to read it? That
No,
was a good
that's-
one.
that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
You set a high bar now, so I don't know if I can meet that.
I love the Christian voices.
Voices.
So
All right, we'll see. As far as I know, I'm the only human lightsaber who has ever competed in a large stakes pod race and won. If you ever find yourself at flying line at one of these competitions, here's what you need to make sure you come out of the race round. 1. Trust your spaceships. Even if you can't see things before they happen like me, you can at least keep your ears open and look out for small pilots or debris parking at you. 2. Keep steering. The key to being an orange pod racer pilot is knowing how to eat. Hug those white curves and don't let them intimidate you. 3. Always remember, have fun. Your pod racer might look like a hot hunk of kitties, but if you know how to use it, pod racing can be red.
Sure.
Woohoo!
Now that is pod racing.
yeah,
Thank
now that
you.
is pod racing. It's working. It's working.
Poor Jake Lloyd.
Honestly, yeah, straight up, real sad.
Yeah, he got kind of screwed.
Yeah, he really did.
Sorry, Jake Lloyd.
We're a pro Jake Lloyd podcast.
We're sorry.
He's all right, He's not the problem with that movie.
No.
No, it's all the people who watched it that are the problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we have Jack on the podcast for the second time on Jedi Knights. First time in a while.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Star Wars content came out since the last time you were here.
Big time.
If I remember correctly, the only big fall release that you were able to talk about was Fallen Order with us.
Yeah, Fallen Order, and I believe I was on the episode discussing the second Mando episode.
That's correct.
So.
So we're doing a little segment to introduce the show this week
Mm-hmm.
called "What Will Jack Think?"
With an H in there.
Yeah, because that's been a mainstay for the past couple weeks.
Very cool.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Mike. So, I'm going to run through a few topics, brief thoughts,
Sure.
opinions. Let's see what you think about these things, educate the audience on your takes. The Mando finale.
Big
Thoughts?
fan.
Mhm.
Big fan. So I liked the season as a whole. I think watching it week by week, like that was a detriment to the show because it really meandered from. I liked episode 4. It wasn't like, tied into like the actual like story of it. It was kind of like a side story, but I liked it. 4, 5, 6, and I think 7.
7 was the Bill Burr episode, I think.
Yeah, those were all
6 was the Bill Burr episode.
Yeah.
okay.
7 was like, I felt like the last 2 episodes were like cut in half almost.
Was it
Yeah.
7 and 8 that were the final episodes?
Yes.
Okay, so 4, 5, and 6 were like 3 episodes back to back to back
Mhm.
that had nothing to do with like the main arc,
Mhm.
and I feel like it kind of made no sense. Like it was Mando's like sort of job to like look after Baby Yoda, and he's taking all these like sort of side jobs, especially like in the heist episode. It was like it's cool, but like why are you doing this?
Yeah, you're just putting Baby Yoda's life in risk.
Yeah, seriously. But once it got back on track on episode 7 and 8, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Especially the dark saber appearing, because as we'll find out, I watched the Clone Wars and Rebels, so like I know the backstory of that lightsaber, so it's cool to see that come back.
Yeah, that was a great moment. We have some news about that dark saber.
Ooh.
Via the one who wielded it.
Wielded. Welt.
Okay. So you were a big fan of the finale then.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
That was directed by Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I'm glad he came back to do that. You can definitely tell his humor, especially with the stormtroopers at the beginning.
Yeah, the Jason Sudeikis scout trooper.
I love that. That was great.
You like Taika, right? Marvel guy?
I do like Taika Waititi.
So what are your thoughts on those rumors and rumblings that he's in the talks to do a Star Wars project?
I feel like people will hate that movie. Totally will hate that movie.
Okay, why?
Because people don't like that level of humor in Star Wars. And I feel like if they let him run wild with that, people might be a little afraid and disrupted by that. Because, like, especially with Thor Ragnarok, that was a very irreverent movie. Mm-hmm. People don't really like that in Star Wars. In fact, people get very angry with that. I think I'm intrigued by it. And what we saw with episode 8 of The Mandalorian, I thought was very good. And he kind of like held back a little bit. But you still see his sort of humor within that episode. So I'm interested for sure. But I can definitely see the general populace of Star Wars fans not liking that movie or whatever that project is.
Yeah. High Republic.
Huge fan.
Yes.
Very excited. It is a little strange that it's just 200 years. I know you guys were talking about that. It's not really a lot of time.
It's really not.
It's like learning about the 1800s versus the 1600s. Like, a lot happened in that time period.
Right.
But, like, it's not like, I think the Old Republic is what, 4,000 years before, like, the game is like 4,000 years before Phantom Menace. It's a lot of time.
That's a long time.
Very long time.
Yeah, so.
Is there a specific project out of the ones announced you're looking forward to most?
The main, what's the first book? Light of the Jedi?
I think so.
The Charles Soule book.
Yeah, that's the first one out of the gate, right? I'm definitely interested in that. I think, I'm not a big reader. Huge.
Join the club.
Huge audiobook guy, though.
Okay.
I don't know. I snapped you when during my game sessions, I'm listening to some Harry Potter. So I'm all about it. I would definitely love to listen to that. Yeah, I think it would be a good way to explore the Star Wars universe. I wasn't super in on the sequel trilogy era. I feel like it didn't really do anything with Star Wars that the original trilogy, like, those two eras felt very similar.
Yeah.
Whereas the prequel and the sequel trilogy, or the original trilogy, felt so different. Like, original trilogy is like a wasteland. It's like kind of the Wild West. And the prequel trilogy is like very shiny and everything is in order. And those two are very like diametrically opposed. And the sequel trilogy is kind of the same as the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I feel like you don't really get a sense for what the world and the universe is like in that trilogy, which is kind of sad.
Yeah. So I guess closing it all off, the last thing on this list, you were talking about the sequel trilogy.
Yes.
You were at the showing we all saw episode 9 at.
Yeah.
You seem to be the most positive out of all of us.
For sure.
Have you seen it since then?
I saw it once.
Okay.
One more time. So I came out of that more positive than you guys. You guys sat behind me, and I sat with my friends a few rows ahead. I remember staring at you guys, and you guys were all like, just like looking around like, I don't know how to feel. I remember vividly you guys were like, I have no clue. And
that was a movie.
Mike and I were talking about it. It's like very different to how you, Pat, and I came out of Endgame.
Yeah.
We were probably all bawling. So we were talking about like the lead up for our Marvel podcast, Excelsior on JoyClicks.
Check it out.
Was so worthwhile because we got to the end and we're like, hell yeah, dude. Like, that was so worth it. And I feel like Mike was talking about it.
Yeah, I was saying to Jack, I was like, it definitely didn't feel worth it. Like, watching The Rise of Skywalker after, like, slogging through all of them. Not that it wasn't fun. It was a lot of fun. It just, the payoff wasn't there.
It definitely didn't add to the experience, I'd say.
Yeah, like, it just felt like,
it was like,
I was expecting something.
Yeah.
Like, having watched all of them.
Yeah, we got to re-experience the highs of the other one, and then when we walked into 9, we were like, oh, so it's not ending on a high, but okay.
Right.
Yeah, it just felt like so disappointing, to be honest.
So, but you really enjoyed it at least.
I enjoyed it. I think my expectations were set after episode 8. I'm not the biggest episode 8 fan. So coming after that, I was like, Star Wars ended in 1983. Like,
Fair.
This finale is not going to be the finale that anyone asked for. So I think my expectations were already there. I was like, all right, let me just sit back and like try to enjoy this.
Yeah.
And that movie asks a lot from its audience.
Oh, it does.
From the get-go, it's like, okay, the Emperor's back. And you have to be with that. From the literally first sentence of that movie, the Dead Speak, you have to be all in.
Without explanation.
And if you're not, that movie will not work for you.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. I have my list if you want me to read it. Okay. So 11 movies, right?
Yeah, are you counting Clone Wars?
I'm not.
Okay. So yeah, 11.
Yeah. So number 11 is episode 2. Number 10 is Solo. Number 9 is episode 1. Number 8 is The Last Jedi. Number 7 is episode 3. Number 6 is Rise of Skywalker. 5 is Rogue One. 4 is Force Awakens. 3 is OG Star Wars. 2 is Empire. And 1 is Return of the Jedi. So Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi are only separated by one movie for me. So that's kind of... I'm more positive on Rise than I am on Last Jedi.
You literally put it in the middle of your pack, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't love The Rise of Skywalker. I think it has some tremendous writing issues. Like, tremendous writing issues.
Yeah.
And it also, like, you guys were talking about this, like, it kind of takes away from Anakin and Luke.
No. I'd say Anakin more, personally.
Yeah, and that makes me so angry.
Yeah, he's the chosen one, and Rey kind of just does it again out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I will say, the sequel trilogy, like, my thoughts on it are kind of, I feel like, kind of negative. I really only love episode 7, and I feel like overall it's kind of a worthless sequel trilogy. Like, doesn't really do anything with Star Wars, and overall I don't really like any of the characters. Like, none of the characters really.
I like Kylo Ren.
I like Kylo Ren. I like Finn and his potential. I wish we got a little more out of it, but like and I think Poe is is a better pilot, I think, than any of the original trilogy had. Like, we talked about like a Wedge. Who cares about Wedge? Like, I know people who are like grew up with the movies were like, oh, Wedge.
Yeah.
But he says like 3 things.
That's true. I feel like with Poe, he's just like good. Like from the get go, he's just good.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like he's a good pilot, but he really only has any sort of character development in episode 8. Because in episode 7, he was supposed to die.
Yeah, that's true.
And then JJ's like, we'll just bring him back. And then episode 9, he, I guess, rallies the troops. I guess he doesn't even do that.
No. Well, thank you for the cliff notes.
Sure.
You know, I was talking to Jack earlier, Christian. When The Rise of Skywalker goes on Disney Plus, which should be soon, probably this month.
Yeah.
We should watch it and then return to it. Do a revisited episode.
I agree, because you saw it twice, right?
Yeah. Yes. 3 times? 3 times. Maybe 3 times.
I saw it twice, and the second time, knowing what you were saying, like having the expectations in check, which I tried to do the first time, but knowing like where it was going and like seeing how it all got there the second time, I was more on board with like most of it. It's still very silly and goofy, but
Totally.
Yeah, I didn't like hate watching it. It's still like a Star Wars movie I'm watching, like what you said about the prequels, like regardless of quality, it's still a fun time.
Yeah, well, I think we're just some time removed now.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to revisit the movie.
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea.
I was talking to Mike about this. I don't know what the general consensus is of episode 8 and 9. Because the discourse on both of those movies was so ridiculous in both ways.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. It will have to take a few years for people to really like come together on like what we really feel on those movies. Yeah, some people love them or hate them. So,
well, there is one thing that's in the news recently that I don't think is hard to gauge the consensus on. We teased it at the top of the show. So episode 9, like you said, Palpatine's back. You got to be with that. Mike, we were talking about last week, I believe, the novelization of episode 9.
Yes.
Revealing Kylo Ren speaking to the spider monster.
Yes, very weird.
Talking about something or other. I don't remember what it was.
Hux and Pride are on Mustafar with him.
So this week, we have another excerpt. I did not quote it exactly because it's kind of ridiculous, but all you need to know. So when Kylo Ren meets Palpatine at the start of the movie, He's in there, right? He's having his dialogue with him back and forth. And somehow he senses that his spirit inhabited a clone of Palpatine. Discuss.
How do you sense something like that?
I don't know. He's like,
This isn't the real Palpatine that I grew up with.
no. Like, yeah, honestly.
I mean, it just seems convenient to me.
Yeah. But, like, sure. Like I thought that was, like, the fan theory going into it. And then they, like, offhand mention, it's like, oh, dark magic, cloning, dark techniques or whatever.
Mickey Mouse probably just called whoever was writing that book and was like, "Hey,
Well, could you make Palpatine a clone? It'll sell books.
no one liked our movie," and yeah, no one liked the movie, and so they wanted to get on the fan theories.
So, like, my thing, though, like, if he is a clone, right? Sure, I'll buy that. He cloned Snoke. He cloned Snoke.
Professor Snape.
He had an army of clones at his disposal for, like, 5 years.
Yeah.
I can buy that he cloned himself. But my question is, why was he, like, falling apart if he was a clone? Would he not want, like, just a good version of himself?
Now, don't we remember in the Clone Wars, they were talking about having, well, never mind. I was going to say, like, there was that part in the Clone Wars where they're talking about, like, stretching the DNA of Jango Fett.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they had, I don't know. This is ridiculous anyways. Maybe they had to stretch his DNA
So, like,
somehow.
couldn't fully form.
Yeah, I don't know. It's stupid anyways.
or like maybe he cloned himself a while ago, and
Yeah.
like the body over time, like
Yeah, and I mean, like, it was 30 years,
Yeah.
between this movie and 6 when he died.
And clones like age terribly.
Except for Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Like, if Palpatine was in charge of this, he should have been like, hey, I want my 20-year-old self available for me at the snap of my fingers.
You know what this is? This is a clear sign that there's no cohesion with any of the writing process happening at Disney. Like, I don't think that was supposed to be a thing.
I don't either, and I really, like, I think that it's probably just in there for the people that wanted the answer. I don't think it adds anything clearly. It brings up more questions
Oh, totally.
than anything else.
it really does.
It fits lore-wise with, like, that universe and what he probably could have done as an option.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think it's probably just in there to, like, placate people that were like, oh, so how did he come back? And they didn't play Fortnite, so they didn't know. But
Oh my god. Yeah, there's a Fortnite thing where you had to. I didn't even like play it or like.
I looked
even
it
know
up on
what happened.
YouTube.
What is it?
It's just like this. It's the transmission that he sends across the
Oh,
galaxy.
Yeah. So
That's so ridiculous.
The Star Wars
dude.
galaxy is Fortnite, I guess.
Oh god. I think this is in there just to like sell books. To be like, oh, there's random answers of this movie that I don't understand because the writing was terrible.
Yeah,
I
well,
guess I'll buy this.
you were saying that 7 did similar things, right? They had additions in there to their novelization.
Yeah, but I don't think they really changed. Like, I don't think they explained anything that was like so critical to the plot of episode 7. Like,
Yeah.
the whole like Palpatine being alive is like the linchpin of episode 9, and there's no explanation to it in the movie.
Yeah.
And something like that, like there are at least explanations for most like major things in episode 7. Like, in my opinion, I don't know if you guys disagree, but it seemed pretty coherent, more coherent than episode 9.
Or like, if there isn't anything clear, it's the classic JJ. We'll set this up now. Someone else can finish it later.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he was like, "Oh no, I have to finish it."
Yeah, it was there partly like not as much of an expectation of like these things have to be answered now. They were just like added details in the books that weren't in the movie. Like, I'm pretty sure like Kylo Ren and his like Sith artifacts and stuff that was in the book.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And this is just my perspective on it. I didn't really need an explanation of why he was back. Like, I bought it. Like, when we were sitting there in the theater, I was like, oh, we're just hopping right in. Okay, he's here.
Yeah.
Like,
I only bought it because I had to.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to.
Yeah. and I
Again,
mean,
like, it's such a huge ask of the audience to be like, we saw him die in a ridiculous explosion.
he died twice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I don't know. I think it's so ridiculous that he's back anyways that it's whatever anyways that sure he's a clone. Whatever. I mean, it's so absurd anyways. Like, I guess. Sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's just sad that we're resigned to that.
Yeah. Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I do think it says more to like the culture of the fandom personally than like anything else on like the story planning side of things, because seeing stuff like this, it feels reactionary whether or not it is, to me at least. But yeah, it's like I didn't want to bring this up because it's like kind of throwaway, but I think it's a fun conversation to have.
Yeah. Are these books or the novelizations of the movies? This might be a silly question. Are they canon?
I don't know.
I think they might be.
They must be, because like if
Like they tell the same story, but like that wasn't in
I think they are.
the movie, but that could just be like, oh well, we didn't directly say it, but
Yeah, I think so. As far as my understanding goes, I think the novelization of 7 is based off the whatever script they had at the time of the book starting. So that could have been like bluntly stated in the film rather than just alluding to it with the Snoke tubes and
right.
the line about dark whatever they said, dark magic. But yeah, it's like more so like I'm thinking explaining it for the people that do want that answer, because it's in a novelization that not many people are probably going to pick up. I mean, we're all into Star Wars a lot, and I don't think any of us are going to be reading the book.
Definitely not.
So the people that want those headlines or those like quick answers, I think that's who it's for.
I mean, I'll be interested in hearing it.
Yeah, like that spider thing, that was an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I guess.
You know?
Like,
Is there like a subsect of the Star Wars fan or fandom that like the movie comes out and then they're like, oh man, they don't see the movie, like I can't wait till the book comes out, man. Only got a year.
probably.
Just like hates going to the theater and then just like, yes,
That's
Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker.
That's funny. You just reminded me of this.
He's a clone?
That you just like reached back in my memory for a second, because like I've talked about this before. I didn't see episode 3 in theaters. It took me like a couple years to see it.
Did you read the book before?
I read like half the book.
Dude, that's
I
crazy.
didn't remember that. In like, I think like one of the libraries in my like 3rd or 4th grade class at the time, when we had like we had a thing called like drop everything and read.
Oh my god, yeah, me
Drop
too.
everything and
I didn't
read.
know that.
Yeah, whatever acronym that makes. So we had like reading time, and I was like, oh cool, a Star
Dear.
Wars book. Dear, thank you.
Journalism.
So yeah, I read like half the novelization of episode 3 before I saw the movie.
That's
You
crazy.
Probably didn't. You didn't even get to the good parts. Probably.
No, I was like, oh man, I wonder how Anakin dies or something.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Wow, that's so funny.
Well, on a lighter beat of the Star Wars fandom, we have been exploring lots of avenues when it comes to TV. Mandalorian, we were all very positive on, with some exceptions at the table with certain episodes. But we have some directors who are working on season 2 confirmed. Some have already, believe they've finished shooting, so these directors are in the can. They're done.
Nice.
There was reporting going around that James Mangold did an episode.
Logan.
Yep.
Wait, so this is confirmed or is this speculative?
So, with the exception of what I'm saying right now, we have confirmation.
Okay.
James Mangold came out and said, hey, super cool that these people are involved, but I'm not. I did not do a day of work on this show. Don't know why my name is here. So,
that answers my question.
yeah. If you heard anything about James Mangold that is false, but confirmed, we have Bryce Dallas Howard returning.
Cool.
Who, if she does get another like one-off episode, as a one-off episode, I really liked episode 4.
Oh, I love that episode.
Yeah.
I do too.
So
It just that for me like started the 3 episodes of like nothing, but of those 3 episodes, that was my favorite.
And then the heist one.
That was cool.
The Tatooine one was the weakest.
That was
that was my
worst.
least favorite episode.
That was like a bad episode.
It was.
Straight up.
Straight up.
Yeah, I agree. So seeing her come back is exciting. We don't have a full list of directors, so we don't know if Deborah Chow or Taika are coming back again, as far as I know. But a new name in the pool.
Yeah.
The director of, get this, the Spy Kids quadrilogy.
Oh yeah.
No.
Robert Rodriguez.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He's worked on some episodes. I don't know if he did a full episode, but he's involved.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love Spy Kids.
Now, Fun fact, tangent, Spy Kids takes place in the Quentin Tarantino universe.
It does, because Machete
Yeah.
is
true.
involved.
There's like tangential characters. I don't know.
He's the uncle. I remember that.
Yeah. No, wait. Yeah, he is the real uncle.
Yeah.
The fake uncle takes off that mustache. Huge twist.
So that means Django Unchained happens in the same.
Yes.
Like, imagine Django Unchained with like thumb people.
That would be very interesting with thumb
Oh
people.
Lord.
Leonardo DiCaprio playing a thumb person.
I mean, you could just like probably replace all of the white supremacists with thumb people, and it'll be the same.
Yeah, honestly. straight up.
Yeah.
It would be.
So Rodriguez coming in, he's known for his action. Like Spy Kids, yeah, they're kid movies, but like they do have action set pieces made for children to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But he also did Sin City, both of them, not just the first one, and
Very stylistic movie.
Alita the Battle Angel. Which
Is that good?
I heard. I know some people that liked it.
Okay.
They were like, "Hey,
It's one of those movies.
yeah, it's like, hey, why did this get so much hate? This is all right."
She's got them big eyes in that movie.
Yes, those anime eyes.
Oh yes.
So
Yes. The anime
yes,
eyes.
The anime eyes.
I'm very familiar.
So, as far as we know here with these two directors, interested,
Yeah.
excited.
Sure.
That's cool.
Any implications on what you want to see out of them?
No, I mean like I enjoyed Bryce Dallas Howard's first episode.
Mhm.
So if she does anything close to what she did for the first season, I think her episode's going to be a smash hit in my opinion.
Yeah.
So no qualms there. Robert Rodriguez, to me, that is an interesting choice, but doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be bad.
Yeah, I think he's done more things than bad. I just wanted to lead with Spy Kids because I thought that was funny. But
Yeah, no, but I mean, like I'm just saying, like it's a weird choice.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. My hopes for season 2 is that everything feels tighter. I feel like that show kind of got lost in the edit a little bit,
Okay.
where there was just some awkwardness to just the action that was going on, I thought.
Sure.
So I hope that's a little tightened up, and I think it will be.
I think Bryce Dallas Howard's episode in season 1 had elements that like kind of pushed the story forward, so I don't think all is lost on her end.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, I think like at the end of it all, outside of how strong it ended, I do think her episode might be my favorite still.
Yeah.
So I think depending on how many episodes we get this season, if it's divided up into 2 major arcs, and then we get like one interstitial episode, if she's the one that like does the mid-season break of like, let's chill out for a sec, let's just help out this town, do something like that again, or like something in line with that, I think that would work.
Yeah,
Maybe
totally.
something else too.
Yeah, I'd love to see her just have free reign with it and see what she does.
Put Baby Yoda in Mandalorian armor, please.
If anyone's gonna do it, that'll be her, because she's the one that gave us sipping the tea.
Oh,
That's true. She did.
that has to be a thing, right? Like,
In the armor, that I've been picturing that since he became a foundling.
like they have to out cute themselves with
Yeah.
season 2 and Baby Yoda. Like,
Yeah.
Tiny helmet.
can you imagine the big helmet?
With the
like
ears.
that's like, and he's
His
like,
ears are popping out
Yeah.
oh yeah,
of the helmet.
and like he puts on the big Mando helmets at the beginning of the season, and then Mando's like, oh, we gotta get you a new one. And by the end of the season, it's dumb ears. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Speaking of that, though, I don't know if you played Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
You played Battlefront 2?
The 2005 Battlefront 2.
All right, Jack. So we're fans of Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017 on this show.
We are big fans of that.
In that game, you can play as Yoda in his alternate costume. He has his hood up and there's ear holes in it.
Yeah.
Alternate costume.
Yeah, so there's alternate costumes for a handful of these characters.
Oh, is it like
Most of
in the Revenge of the Sith video game where you can play as evil versions of
No.
the Jedi?
Sadly, no, but I
Oh.
remember that.
Remember that? That was
Yeah.
cool.
There's skins for like Grievous. You can get like progressively damaged armor.
With the heart pumping out?
I don't know if it's all that, but it does get smoldering at one point.
Oh, that's cool.
Obi-Wan, you can get in his Clone Wars outfit. Same with Anakin.
His general outfit.
Oh, with the bracers or
Yeah.
the shoulder pads?
Mhm.
I actually really like that.
Me too. We got an update for Battlefront 2. So this new update, free once again, putting that out there. You can play as Ewoks, and people still don't want to give this game a chance.
They're literally giving you every opportunity.
Yeah, you can get it pretty cheap now. I think. Like
Yeah, I saw it for like 10 or $15
yeah,
recently.
I think it's worth it. But yeah, you can play as Ewoks. They are now commanders, I guess. Like there's certain classes that you can earn points throughout the match to, and then spawn as them. Ewoks are one of them. I forget what the Empire version was, but it was boring.
No Jawas.
Nothing I ever saw. No Jawa.
Jawa's like as you're playing as the Empire.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be weird.
They added a few new weapons to the game because each class is limited to 4 as far as I know, but it looks like they're adding 1 each for the main trooper classes. They also added a new co-op campaign for the Empire era original trilogy. There has been Age of Rebellion and Age of Resistance available so far as the co-op campaigns, but no Empire yet.
Interesting.
Do they have Galactic Conquest or instant action in this thing?
They do have instant action. They have
Oh, can you play like offline?
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's like regular old school Battlefront.
Whoa.
Mhm.
Did they add that?
No,
I-
it's always been.
I think that's always been there because original Battlefront had arcade mode
Mm-hmm.
where you could just like spawn troops and wreck shop as a Jedi or Sith.
Yeah.
This one allows you to
Do that and
Mhm.
yeah.
and you can queue up with friends. So
Dude, that might get me.
yeah,
That might get me. How's the platinum on this thing?
I don't know. It's worth looking into.
Yeah.
It's probably like super, like a grind
I
as it
think-
is a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I remember looking at I had Battlefront 1, and that platinum is just like unobtainable.
Well,
So-
you guys could play together then.
Yeah,
It's
and
true.
then once they get their act together and put crossplay in this thing, the 3 of us can play together.
Playing it on the Xbox.
Needs to happen.
One other thing notable about this, they did a whole like video update. I recommend checking it out to see like all this stuff in action. They teased at the end of this episode of like the developer diary. Next update, adding Scarif to Battlefront 2.
Interesting.
So that's gonna be a good time.
Now this is the Rogue One beach planet.
Yes, with the satellite.
Ooh, that's fun. Ooh, that would be a great little supremacy. What's it called?
Capital Supremacy.
Capital Supremacy. That's what
Wouldn't
I'm
that be
thinking.
A dope
Yeah,
mode.
because I think you're 100% right. Because so far they have Capital Supremacy for Resistance era maps and Republic era maps, but there is no Empire anything for Galactic Supremacy yet, or Capital Supremacy.
Yeah, that's straight up like perfect because
It is.
in the movie they have ground and space going on at the same time.
Yeah, and you can obviously you'd have like domination of like just focusing on the tower and like the beach area, capturing those points, and then doing the hammerhead thing to open the gate, and then like there's the dropship, there's the Empire
yeah.
one.
Transmit the plans.
Yeah, it'd be so cool.
That'd be cool. Like, so DICE does this game, right? Huge fan of the Battlefield series.
Sure.
So it'd be cool if they did like a rush style, if you remember, where there's like 2 points that you have to blow up as the attackers, and you defend as the defenders, and you progress on to the points, and you keep going and like destroying them. That'd be cool if you got to the tower, destroy it, go up to space.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. I think that level of engagement from a Battlefront map is probably going to be saved for 3 if they make a 3.
Yeah,
But
Do you think they'll make a 3 though?
I don't know
that
because
thing prints money, right? It must.
about what Battlefront 3 or just 2.
2.
Well, Fallen Order is on track to outsell Battlefront 2 at this point.
Is that true?
Yes, it's getting pretty close.
All right.
I think when we
Got
talk,
that Jedi in there.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's right.
I
You
think
gotta throw Jedi in all the titles.
Star Wars Jedi Battlefront 3, Darth Vader.
Lightsaber.
get that SEO.
Yeah, straight up.
That's
funny.
So yeah, Battlefront 2. Do you think you'd end up giving it a shot? This is piquing your interest. It
Like
seems.
$5-10? Sure. Sure.
I highly recommend it to anyone listening, and this is not a sponsorship. I have my opinions about EA that they would probably never sponsor this show, but it's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call a good game when you see it.
Exactly. Like I said at the top of this, kind of late news week, so we have a little bit of time before we get into our Clone Wars discussion. So, since we're all here today, I want to pick your brains a little bit about the future of the Skywalker saga in terms of television, specifically animated television. Because as we've been doing on this run of the show, watching through Clone Wars, and I think every week seeing more and more why people view it as one of the best Star Wars entities in the saga, there's a lot of opportunity to continue exploring these characters, these eras through serialized TV, I think. And so far we've done that with the Clone Wars. From what you two have said about Rebels, they've done it just as well, if not better there. So what do we want next? Because they do have that Resistance show that lasted like 2 seasons, kind of came and went. What do you guys like? Ideally, what would you want to see out of a new animated series, be it a follow-up to Rebels, same characters, new characters, focusing on familiar characters?
If we had... So Clone Wars largely is focused on Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, right? And clones, of course. Would be awesome if Dave Filoni came back and did a post-sequel trilogy or post-original trilogy series focusing on Ahsoka and Sabine, also tangentially focused on Luke, Han, and Leia, mostly Luke, building the Jedi Order, leading up to Kylo Ren's turn to the dark side. That would be dope.
That would be a cool show.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like the sequel trilogy, I kind of wanted it to start, now that all is said and done, with the turn of Kylo. That would have been a cool episode 7, I think. That's just my opinion.
True. Yeah, having it all start after that is an interesting choice.
To see that,
Yeah.
that would be cool. That's just my thoughts.
I think, honestly, I agree with you, Jack. The question for me is whether that would be its own show or if it would just be a continuation of Star Wars Rebels. Because, like, I didn't consider maybe, like, having tangentially, like, Luke and Leia and whatever, starting the Jedi Order. I feel like the Sabine and Ahsoka going out trying to find Ezra would serve better as just, like, a final season maybe to Rebels.
That's
and then
true.
what you were thinking of maybe its own series.
Because there's a lot of meat and potatoes in that,
There's a lot of
for sure.
Yeah.
And have we really even seen that in canon?
What?
Luke building the Jedi Order?
In new canon, I don't think so. Battlefront 2 does a mission that takes place post-6 with young Luke looking for some sort of artifact.
He's fighting bugs.
Yeah.
He's fighting bugs. Also, the Rise of Kylo Ren has some flashbacks to
Cool.
that time period.
Yeah, Ben Solo getting the seeds planted about falling to the dark side.
Mm.
Oh yeah, big time.
But yeah, nothing like solid enough to fill those 30 years. There is rumblings that season 2 of Mandalorian is going to feature familiar characters. I don't know
Whatever that means.
Yeah, that could mean anything from like Donald Glover Lando to like Sebastian Stan playing a young Luke or something. I don't know.
That would be cool.
I'm in.
But it's open, you know.
Yeah.
So
They really haven't touched that. Mando's, I feel like, is one of the first big things that is getting into that era.
yeah, and I think with Mando even they're like purposefully just getting it as far away from all that as possible.
Which I like.
I do too.
I like how Mando is so, like, undeniably separate from what's going on with the Jedi. Like, people don't even really know what the Force is in that show. And, like, which is so interesting, I think, because most Star Wars things are focused on the Jedi and the Force. And some people are like Quill and Mando, like, when they realize Baby Yoda is using the Force, they're like, what was that? I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mike, when it comes to the animated series so far, do you think that with the stories they've been telling, it would be able to cover all the ground between 6 and 7 well enough to like feel contained and not bloated or stretched out too long? Because Clone Wars, clearly the gap between episode 2 and 3 isn't significant, but they do have 7 seasons out of it. When it comes to Rebels, I don't know where Rebels starts in relation to it all and where it ends.
I believe it's 5 years before.
I think so. I was imagining it not so much as like we need to start immediately from the end of 6 and like begin immediately at the beginning of 7. Like they, in my eyes, they could like take a time period and just like have it their own story in that time period and kind of just like give it like a vignette of like these characters that we know. What are they doing like at a certain time? So there's no pressure to like, oh, we have to bridge an entire 30-year gap.
Sure. So do you think you'd want it to focus on, just to get a sense of like what kind of stories?
Yeah, just I mean like what it's like in that time period. We haven't seen really much from that 30 years between 6 and 7. And trying to, create an entire serialized TV show on like trying to bridge 30 years is not reasonable, I don't think.
Yeah, I think with what they've been doing with Ahsoka, what I'm familiar with of what she does in Rebels, I think what you were saying about like sort of introducing her into the era of the original trilogy with Luke and the gang would be really interesting, just as like a thread to it all, since Clone Wars and Rebels seems to have some pretty strong ties, as opposed to like hopping toward like closer to the sequel era where like we do have a young Ben Solo training to be a Jedi. What would you guys want to see more? Would you rather see like Luke fleshed out as the Jedi we never really saw him as, or see more of like Ben in the state of the galaxy leading up to 7?
Honestly, like I would love to see like Luke sort of building that up, but main focus I think should be on Ahsoka. Like she's low-key the main character of Clone Wars. She is sort of a secondary character in Rebels. She is top 2 for me characters.
Interesting.
Maybe my favorite.
She's in my top 10 so far.
I love Ahsoka.
Yeah, she's great.
And I think it'd be really cool to see her arc complete, because we hear her voice in Episode 9, and people have assumed that she's dead then because she's speaking through the Force, but Dave Filoni has said, no, that's not necessarily what that means.
Okay.
And we still have her from the end of Rebels to Episode 9, potentially past that. So I would love to see a completed arc for her character.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Maybe it would be a good way to like get that eye into like what Luke and stuff are doing.
Yeah, for sure. Like
I'd love to see Ahsoka and Luke have.
Yeah, that's
like
what I keep thinking of right now.
Something.
Like, oh, I knew your dad when he was a cool guy.
Yeah, true.
That back and forth, that dynamic.
That would honestly be really like a very complex and interesting relationship.
Yeah, there could probably be some like good tension there too, just because like Luke learned about his dad through Obi-Wan, and they had their own relationship versus Ahsoka, who was raised by Anakin, and I guess Luke could view that as like a sibling sort of thing.
Yeah, honestly.
Very cool. I want to see that.
That would be so interesting. I would love that.
Yeah.
Plus, like, if it's the two of them, I know some people would probably flip out about this, but if it's the two of them working together to rebuild the Order, and that's sort of how he came to see the errors of the Jedi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We got it. Dave Filoni.
Damn.
This is free.
Episode 24. We better have Dave Filoni on this thing.
Where's our cowboy hats?
Yeah, right. Where are they?
But yeah, I think there's a lot of cool storytelling potential, but it seems clear that we would like to see some more gaps filled in the Skywalker saga so far.
Yeah.
I just want to see more Ahsoka.
Totally. I think the animated series are kind of supposed to be like bridge building between certain eras or even like movies. So I think that is a good place to put it. I think it would be cool to see an animated like High Republic or Old Republic show, but I feel like that is sort of unnecessary. I feel like Dave Filoni wants to continue his story with Ahsoka. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd be down to see all of this.
Me too.
So, I thought that'd be a little fun thing to talk about. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're talking about the continuing adventures of Ahsoka and Anakin and Obi-Wan with our Clone Wars recap. See you in a sec.
This is where the fun begins.
Welcome back. We are now going to continue our watch-along and review of Star Wars The Clone Wars, the acclaimed series.
You say it every time.
I love it.
It is acclaimed.
Yeah.
By us especially at this point. This week, we watched 6 episodes, 2 arcs. Season 3, Episode 15, Overlords, 16, Altar of Mortis, 17, Ghosts of Mortis. The next arc, Season 3, Episode 18, The Citadel, 19, Counterattack, 20, Citadel Rescue. So 2 arcs to dive into.
Ooh, can I jump in real quick?
Go for it.
So I made this list,
Yes.
the master list.
You did.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank you.
Now, I should have explained this before I gave this list to you guys. So, must watch, good but not necessary, skip, and terrible. Those are the categories.
Yes.
Now, must watch does not necessarily mean good.
Okay.
I should have said that, but I kind of like how you guys wanted to. Like some episodes, you're like, "What is this?"
Yeah. There's some episodes that we were questioning. What the fuck?
Yeah. Some. So it's subjective. Like I feel like 80% of the list of the must watch are like you should watch this to understand the Clone Wars. But I feel like the Clone Wars in general doesn't have a lot of arcs or episodes that really tie the series together. There's like select few, which you guys are watching and will watch. But a lot of them are just kind of taste of the galaxy.
Okay.
So some of them were like my choice, like this is
Flavors, of course.
yeah, straight up. But for the most part, they are like ones that you should be watching. Some of them are like not necessarily good.
Okay.
The terrible episodes are straight up bad, like bad episodes.
So by the way you're explaining it, none of the terrible ones have any relevance.
No, they should be murdered in a back alley.
Okay.
That's my opinions.
Spawning the Batman.
Yeah.
So I think this week, more so than any other, I have like opinions.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Because every week I've been like just like surprised at like how either cinematic it is or how like I don't know, like engaging it is, or fleshing out Anakin for me to grow to be one of my more positive characters in the saga. And this week, when I started with Overlords, I was like, what show am I watching?
No, legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. And talk about like fleshing out Anakin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like big time.
But also taking that away.
Oh yeah, we're taking it away real hard.
Yeah. So even more so than like last week with the Dathomir stuff, like this feels just so different from everything we've watched so far. In my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about
How
that.
so though?
Like, we did mention it last week, but the animation quality has improved to us like a degree where it's like it feels more alive. But like, I don't know. I think like Anakin is taking more of the episode 3 isms
Yeah, he definitely is.
with him now, and like his decisions and choices and ways treating people. Where I thought everything so far, it was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This is like the Anakin that just got promoted. He's like running wild, doing military operations, feeling confident about himself. But now it's like getting into like the dark Anakin, which just felt kind of sudden. I know we're jumping around, so like there might have been a few seeds planted along the way to where we are now with him.
Mm-hmm.
But like with him and Ahsoka, where they are at the start of this arc, I was like, oh, things have changed. Some stuff has happened. So
Yeah, and that's what something I was mentioning, sort of, where like sometimes things like that just kind of happen in the Clone Wars with nothing explaining it.
okay.
A lot of the like I've seen this front to back once, and then the second time I did like an abbreviated sort of watching. This is my third time, and it's even more abbreviated than what you guys are doing to catch up with season 7. But it's like they just sort of, it's very serialized, like you guys have been talking about that. They sort of just introduce things in like even like the crawl of the show. It's like, this is where we are, deal with it.
Yeah.
And they have like 20 minutes to kind of explain that in each episode. So.
Yeah, and I think the strength of the way we've been viewing it too is that it doesn't feel as confined to being told in 20 minutes, just because a lot of these are a through line across an hour.
That's true.
So I think there's a benefit there, but just like I tried looking into this, I want to ask you, since you've seen it all, is there like a time skip at all between 2 and 3, or is it just like the characters look older because the new models, or what is it? Because like Ahsoka looks like she's either like grown weary or is like older now.
So if you'll notice, Ahsoka's, I don't even know what to call them. Like she's what is she? She's the same thing as Shakti.
Togruta.
Yes, Togruta. So her I don't even know what to call them. Like
Horns?
you know what I'm talking about. They grow during her character change, which signifies age, like growth in age. So there is a tangible progression. It doesn't specify.
Okay.
But what is it? 2 to 3 years between 2 and 3?
That's a Mike question.
I think so.
Yeah. So 2 to 3 years. So that's how long.
I know she's supposed to be 14 in the movie, like when they first meet Ahsoka.
And that's like pretty directly after episode 2, maybe like a few months in.
She's like Ellie from The Last of Us.
Okay.
That's her age.
Right.
And then by the end of, I bet by the end of season 7, she's like 17.
All right. Makes sense. I was just curious. But Mike, what about you? You have been on the same page with me for most of these weeks so far about the way these characters are being portrayed. What was it like seeing Anakin sort of leap more into the darkness inside him?
See, I'm kind of questioning whether or not this is going to be like a turning point in this series, and I'm not sure if you would feel like divulging that. I don't want to spoil it or anything, But like, does it get more Anakin heavy? I guess from this point forward, like with his rumblings of the dark side, because it's the first time that we've really seen that.
I don't know if we get anything as explicit as this episode.
Okay.
And the rest of the series.
I see.
I feel like the main huge sort of progressions we see with Anakin are in the movies, and this is kind of supplemental to that. This arc, I think particularly, we do get that very explicitly, more so than any other thing in the Clone Wars.
Well, the whole thing is like an allegory for he's the chosen one.
Yeah.
And like I think it was very cool how he had to like literally bring balance to like this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was a really interesting arc, and I think it was the most unique thing we've seen so far from the show. Definitely got weird.
Got so weird.
This is, as of right now, with everything I've seen from Star Wars, I think this is the weirdest thing I've seen.
Yeah, definitely. I think
in a good way.
Yeah, I think it's one of the coolest things though, just because it is like so out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Qui-Gon Force Ghost.
Yeah.
I think I was mentioning this in the podcast I was originally on. Pat, could you splice that into this episode right now? Oh, you're not there.
Oh.
Sorry. So, sorry, viewers. Yeah, but I believe I was talking about that, like, Qui-Gon comes in as a Force Ghost, but it's more of a vision when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, because, we had a discussion about, like, how far along he got with that training.
And, like, I believe we were talking about the Kenobi series. Like, will we see Qui-Gon Force Ghost? And I was under the impression that we've already seen him.
Okay.
But now seeing it again, it is more of a vision, I would say.
I'd say it felt like more of a vision.
Yeah, and
than a Force Ghost.
Maybe because Mortis is like this super powerful planet that has extreme ties to the Force, that maybe he can tap into that.
He gets a buff.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So, who did Ahsoka? I'm not recalling, but like during that same scene, Ahsoka has like a weird vision as well, right?
That was her older self.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was so cool. I loved that.
Well, yeah, you have hindsight of Rebels, so you can like draw comparisons to that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I know we're like roughly where she ends up, and so that was cool to see.
That character model is very different than the one we see in Rebels.
Yeah.
I figured because like I've seen images of Ahsoka in Rebels, and like Rebels has a very clearly different art style.
Yeah, but the idea is still there for sure, and it works.
Yeah. But yeah, what like. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this arc, but like you said, at the end of it, it's all kind of just wiped away. But for viewers, there's like a lot to digest.
Yeah. We get Anakin sees like the vision of his future. I think I was also talking about this. This might be the first like canon appearance sequentially, chronologically, of Darth Vader. Because we see the mask, and also we low-key kind of see Anakin as Darth Vader in this episode.
Do we?
I mean, he's got the red eyes and he kind of turns evil.
Oh yeah, true.
So
true.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
Dark side Anakin.
I was like, that Revenge of the Sith poster. There, you're going for that. I get it.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
What's up with the brother, the son?
Yeah.
Why does he look like the Inquisitor from what I've seen?
Totally.
He does look like an Inquisitor.
Like carbon copy Rebels Inquisitor.
Is there any relation there? Did Filoni just like the design?
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought the same thing.
I mean, like the son and the daughter and the father, they're all like spiritual beings, right? Like it's questionable if they even exist to begin with.
So, yeah. So to begin with, also like going into this gate thing, this space pyramid.
Yeah.
So was this like an ecosystem inside there, or was that like a portal?
It's unclear.
I don't know. It's unclear if any of this even really happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny too? It's like I feel like there's been so many times with Fallen Order and this specifically where like we tap into this weird undercurrent of Star Wars about this thing. It's like you don't even know half of what's going on.
Right.
That was kind of like what Lucas intended with the wills and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm wondering why we never just like go for it. Because like there was the Zepho in Fallen Order, which kind of had similar vibes for me. And then there's this with like these holy spirits and this clear religious undertone of like, this is how it will be. You don't know it. Your fate's decided.
This like prophetic,
like
weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Rebels, there's also the world between worlds.
Right. That you've talked about on the show. Yeah.
Which is like, what is all of this? And in a way, I kind of like enjoy the fact that it's not very clear.
I did too.
Mhm.
We got a clear explanation once, and everyone hated it. Midichlorians.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, I think this whole side of it is kind of bringing back the mystery of the Force that was lost there, I think.
totally.
Any highlights from this arc for both of you?
One thing that I thought that I was thinking about when we were watching both of these arcs, but I think it's in this one too. We were discussing on a previous episode how a lot of times characters lose their lightsabers and then don't use the Force
Yeah.
to like grab them.
Uh-huh.
Oh no!
It happens. They do it in this episode, in this arc,
Mm-hmm.
multiple times.
I
Noticed.
I think it's just like I've kind of just phased it out at this point. It's like, yeah, so they're not going to be able to get it. So,
Yeah, right.
but yeah, that's funny that we keep going there. I did notice in the second episode, I was like, okay, so I guess magnetism is stronger than the Force. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that it keeps coming up.
Right.
What about so would you say like the visions are probably your guys' favorite aspects of the arc?
Yeah, I do like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do.
I think both of these arcs, and we'll get into it later with the Citadel, I think, and honestly, a lot of arcs in the Clone Wars tend to have like that middling episode in the arc, and I wish it was sort of just a 2-episode arc, because I think there's a lot of fluff going on in the whole 3-arc structure.
That's fair.
Yeah, like the son kidnaps Ahsoka at the beginning of the second episode.
Mhm.
It seems kind of just like a scapegoat for them to go back down.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just, I feel like that is purposely put in there to have 3 episodes to flesh it out, which is
Right.
fine. Like, you do get more structure, but I think it would have been a little bit easier to watch as just 2 episodes, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair because there was a point where like the entirety of what was going on was not predictable, but like, okay, yeah, Ahsoka is gonna have to face off against Anakin. That's gonna be like setting up stuff for her character and his character. But seeing it all play out, very obvious in the way it's portraying the prophecy. I did think it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did too. It was pretty obvious though.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
the literal like the yin yang like
Yeah,
thing that
right,
Anakin
yeah.
was standing in, and like the clear middle point, and then the son, the daughter on each side. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool.
Yeah, it is very symbolic and obviously for children.
Yeah.
To help visualize that.
Obi-Wan doesn't do anything in this arc, I gotta be honest.
No,
No.
Like, it's solely, like, why is he even here?
probably just to like give him a tie to Anakin still while he's vulnerable. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like he just, like, gets captured, his bike gets lost, Ahsoka comes and saves the day.
Yeah. So yeah, any final thoughts on the Mortis arc?
Oh, the dagger of Mortis
Yeah.
gets an appearance.
Oh, is this the dagger from episode 9?
No.
Is
No.
that different?
People thought it was that because they were like, "Oh,
I
a
see.
dagger in a Star Wars movie. We have to talk about the only other time there was ever a dagger."
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, as if there couldn't be more than one dagger in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Only one MacGuffin, please.
but we do have another arc to talk about, the Citadel arc, which did you guys like this one more or less than Mortis?
More.
Less.
I'm kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This specific arc sees Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka, not to Anakin's liking, going to rescue this Jedi Master captured in the Jedi prison trademark.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Jedi prison.
that's what it is, right?
It is a cool idea. Though.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it's very cool.
a Jedi-proof prison designed by the Jedi.
I was confused by
Yeah.
this because Anakin explains it, I think, in a really bad way.
Yeah.
He says it was designed to capture Jedi if any of us lost our way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he meant if they turned to the dark side and then, like, they contain them there to try and, like, cool them out, or if they quite literally mean they got lost and the Separatists find them and keep them there. Because why is it Separatist controlled if this is built by the Jedi?
Well, it
So-
could have been built by the Jedi like thousands and thousands.
And they took it
of years.
over?
So that's
Yeah.
how I took it.
Okay. That's what I figured,
Mm-hmm.
but, like, it was just confusing why the Separatists were in control. Like there could have been a line explaining that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Jedi at some point lost control over
Yeah.
their jail.
Yeah, I was trying to think if there was a
Azkaban.
line of them saying like, "Oh, they took over this prison that we built," and then it's like, "Oh, big bad
Yeah.
things will happen if they keep this But
It's the Azkaban of the Star Wars universe.
that's
It is the
exactly what I
Azkaban.
thought of. Yeah.
There's two big things about this arc that I think are kind of ridiculous.
What's up?
One, Christopher Walken, the really bad Christopher Walken impression of the guy who controls the Citadel.
Oh, the villain?
The Jedi are here and they're gonna rescue their brothers. Like that's Christopher Walken. Someone's doing a really bad Christopher Walken.
Okay.
I think it was the same voice actor that does Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is, okay.
Yeah, James Arnold Taylor, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one, kind of breaks the canon a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Carbon freezing.
Yeah, so I was
Right.
wondering about this.
Yeah. So in episode 5, they make it seem like this has never been done before, and they test it on Han Solo because they have no clue what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And also, Darth Vader does it. Homie's been frozen before, okay? Like, come on, Dave Filoni.
I know. Well, also, when they got to whatever planet the Jedi Azkaban was on,
Mm-hmm.
they like had no hibernation sickness whatsoever.
Yeah. So, headcanon time. Because I'm really good with like just accepting what's thrown at me most of the time.
Right.
Unless it's super ridiculous. So the way I took it, the way I reasoned it to make it make sense, because that is ridiculous, is that because Bespin is just like a mining settlement, and because it's kind of just like out in the woods, Vader was like, hey, don't want to kill this kid. Maybe this is like shoddy equipment. Test it on the smuggler. You know?
Sure.
'Cause he had the idea to do carbon freezing.
That's true. And also, the equipment existed long before anybody came there.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the first thing.
Sure.
The second thing about why they weren't like groggy, because I was like, did they not know what's gonna happen? And then that's just how they get like screwed over this arc. So I think because the gap between 5 and 6 is 3 years, I think someone said because it was prolonged exposure for Han.
Yeah.
That's why there was the sickness. And I
Yeah.
have to imagine this was like a couple hours for them.
Yeah.
I can buy that.
That's what I explained it all to myself in my head.
I
Sure.
can buy that part.
I'll take
Okay.
it. I'll allow it.
So, as far as this episode goes, it's a prison break episode.
Yeah, it is kind of like cat and mouse between like all the Jedi
Mhm.
and that like prison.
Like knockoff Grievous.
Yeah, what
He looks like a flesh
do
version
they-
of Grievous.
What do they call like the heads of prisons?
Warden?
Yeah, Warden.
Yeah, Warden. Like he just was really bad at his job.
Yeah. It's funny, too. There was a line that stuck out to me, I think, in the last episode. Dooku's like, the only reason I'm alive is because you're being honest. I was like, since when do they value these things on the separatist side of
Yeah,
things?
I
right.
know.
But yeah, I thought this arc was like fine. Like, it didn't do anything crazy story-wise for me. It was a cool set piece thing.
It kind of kept me on the edge of my seat for a little bit.
Yeah.
I was curious to see if they managed to break out of this place without having to send the entire fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Did not happen.
Mhm.
Yeah. Echo did die.
Rip
That was a
Echo.
moment.
Yeah.
One more person left in Domino Squad.
5s, yeah.
Yeah. Press F to pay respects.
Yeah.
F in the chat.
Definitely.
Tarkin, though.
Yeah, Captain Tarkin.
True.
What do we think about that? Because that's kind of like the majority of episode 2 of this arc.
Yeah.
Jerk.
Yeah.
He's a huge jerk.
Yeah.
You get the seeds planted of how Anakin like doesn't approve, but he kind of respects him in a way.
Yeah.
And they both kind of have like even Tarkin like comes around on Anakin and is like, you have my respect. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, big jerk.
Yes, soon to be his boss.
Yeah. Does Tarkin know that Anakin is Darth Vader?
I would assume.
Yeah.
But isn't it unclear if like people actually know that Anakin?
Tarkin was like Anakin's boss, so like
Yeah, but like doesn't the galaxy as a whole like kind of not realize that Darth Vader's Anakin?
Well, I think it gets tricky in like who's alive during what era of who
Mhm.
knows, because I'm sure like Palpatine, Tarkin being his boss, I'm sure he knew, but like like the clones knew, so like whoever was still around that survived through the beginnings of the Empire for clones probably knew too, at least
Yeah.
the 501st.
especially the 501st.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
And then yeah, I guess like as time went on and those people just died off, less people knew, and by the time episode 6 rolls around, it's probably just the Emperor and
Mhm.
Luke. But I do know there's that novel about Leia that deals with the galaxy realizing the relation of her and her father.
Yeah. Well, I think that her political career like ends because of that, and that's why she goes and like creates the resistance.
Oh, that's cool.
Is because people are like, "What? You can't be. If you're Darth Vader's daughter, we can't trust you." And then she's like, "Well, I guess they got a point." You know?
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say this is the first instance of a Russian Jedi.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Why do you have a Russian accent?
I don't know. Just cause.
I don't know.
I thought it would be cool, I guess. I don't know.
Something I thought about.
Doesn't Plo Koon mention something about like I haven't seen action like this since the Old Republic? Or am I thinking of something?
Does he?
I
might have missed that
Or
line.
there haven't been battles like this since the Old Republic. That might have been from a different arc.
Oh no, he says that. He says there haven't been battles like this since the Old Republic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good little nod.
Also, Plo Koon rules.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he found Ahsoka Tano.
He did, and he rules.
He definitely rules.
I
Little
miss
Ahsoka.
his
Ahsoka.
pre-Clone Wars yellow lightsaber. I wish he still had that. Because I think in episode 2 he runs out with or like in the art book or something. Because like he's been in the prequels as like just a background character of the council.
Yeah, he dies on a spaceship.
Yeah, but I don't think he ever.
On Kato Nemoidia, actually.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I don't think he ever used that saber in the movies ever. So it was yellow though.
Yeah.
The green sabers. Give somebody a yellow one already.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like this arc of the two would definitely have been better if it was just 2 episodes. That middle episode is just kind of like they just try to get to the shuttle and it explodes. Echo dies. That's kind of it.
Yeah, like it doesn't really go anywhere. Like it does a lot of what episode 1 was doing, just more of it.
If they just cut between the Jedi coming to rescue them and them escaping, if they combined episode 2 and 3, I think it would have been a little more cohesive.
A lot of it was just like, all right, we're gonna split up and we're just gonna walk.
Yeah, it is kind of like a meandering episode for a while.
Yeah, because we've talked about it on the show too. I love heists. I wouldn't consider like this is technically a heist, but it's just kind of a boring heist. It's like but right when we got to the door, we got caught. So
yeah, that's true.
You know, one thing I'm not sure if our watch of the Clone Wars has answered this question, but like, where did Ahsoka get those 2 lightsabers?
Oh, the Clone Wars never answers that.
It does.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, that's another example of the Clone Wars just kind of introducing something and it just being there. That's just a redesign.
Okay.
One of hers is
they look
smaller than the other.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's yellow.
Yeah, because I saw
right. Yeah, no, exactly.
It's like kind of yellow. It's like a lime green.
Yeah. Is this like cyan?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's like slightly different in some scenes. In some scenes, it's straight out yellow. Others, it's like, okay, this is like both kind of green.
But what is it supposed to be?
One of them, she holds it in like some. I'm sure there's like a version of her fighting
the blade
stance.
goes like this way.
Yeah, she holds one sideways and the other forward. One's more like a blocking saber, and the other is a striking saber.
I like that.
It's very cool.
Yeah, her fighting style is very interesting.
Yeah, I love it.
They have different names for the type of fighting styles, and I'm not very familiar with any of them.
That's cool though.
Yeah,
they've also changed from the canon now.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, is like, I know we go further into her character with like other lightsabers eventually, but like,
oh yeah, you do.
With this specifically, like, and I guess with the rest of Clone Wars, if you know off the top of your head, like, are there any other like, are most of the jumps in logic like small like that, or are they like?
Yes.
Okay.
In my opinion, there's only one significant arc to the Clone Wars, and it's the end of season 5.
Okay.
And you guys will get there, obviously, but I feel like that is the one that is like connects, or that really ties together like Ahsoka's story.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, we see the slow progression of Ahsoka through various episodes and through various arcs, but nothing is super explicit as in season 5's finale.
We do see very much though, like even through this arc, like Ahsoka becoming more like of a Jedi.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and it's neat seeing them plant the seeds this way, like knowing where she's going or like to an extent. But I think it is helping the show have more of an identity in between these two arcs, I think, and the Dathomir one as well.
Mhm.
It's starting to lean more into the, not like serious aspect of it, but I know the conversation about Clone Wars is, at a certain point, it goes beyond just being a kid's show. And I think I was just so surprised at how deep we got with politics so far in all the other arcs.
Yeah.
I love the politics episodes. I
Yeah.
really do.
Mm-hmm.
That now seeing what people were talking about, of like, then it gets legit. It's like, oh, it does change a lot. Wow, okay.
Yeah, you guys are right about there. Now, like season 3, like with the character redesigns and just I think better stories,
Mhm.
the show just gets better. Season 4 is better than 3, probably. Season 5 is awesome.
Awesome.
Is season 6 better than 5?
Season 6 was released known as the Lost Missions, and there's not a lot of. So season 5 is like the true end of that show as they finished it, because they wanted to do another season, like season 7, but I think when Lucasfilm was bought out by Disney, it was just canceled. So they had what they had with season 6, and they just kind of released it. There's nothing significant about the arcs in that. I included most of them, I think, on the list.
Mhm.
They're good to watch. Some of them, there's a Jar Jar arc in there that I did
Does
not
it
include.
happen before season 5?
No. Season 6 is like after season 5.
Oh, okay.
There's like one arc about a particular clone. There's another Yoda arc in there.
Any
so.
Ahsoka nonsense?
No, Ahsoka's not. I don't think she's in there at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like Anakin and Obi-Wan like kind of took a back seat.
Interesting.
So like I think you guys should be prepared for season 6. It's not like, it is just kind of like a bunch of random episodes.
I foresee me not liking that at all.
Yeah,
But
it's
alright.
not that great. I think one arc in particular I enjoy.
Mhm.
You guys like the clone episodes, which I appreciate, because
Yeah.
I do too. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the most fascinating
I
stuff going on.
Genuinely
Clone Wars.
felt things when Echo died. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, man, we're
Then-
getting into it.
You will like the beginning of season 6 then. 'Cause
Awesome.
It gets into some clone stuff.
Okay, cool.
Some actually pretty important clone stuff.
Noted.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, we are wrapping up season 3, and we're getting into season 4. 6 episodes for next week, 2 arcs, as highlighted by Jack on his guide.
We gotta make that public. Or
You
something.
do.
Oh yeah, I'll throw that out there.
Season
I will get some flack, I'm sure, for that. But I specifically built that. No, I'm figuring you guys would watch the must-watch episodes for the show. It's like 5 or 6 episodes a week.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, you very much made it like easy for us to plan out like which episodes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I figured you guys would watch like 5 to 6. So I tried to whittle it down. There are some like extraneous episodes still in that,
Yeah.
but it's all a matter of opinion.
And, yeah, we said at the top, too, since you've seen the show, like, this is your 3rd time, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, we trust your opinions on this.
Yeah. For the like again, like I said, like 75-80% are like the must watch, and then within that there's some fluff in there. I'll say it.
Yeah, that's right.
But
So, season 3, episode 21 next week, Padawan Lost. Season 3, episode 22, Wookiee Hunt. Season 4, episode 7, Darkness on Umbara. Season 4, episode 8, The General. 409, Plan of Descent. 410, Carnage of Krell.
y'all like clones?
Ooh.
Love clones.
Y'all gonna like this arc then.
I already watched Padawan Lost and the Wookiee one.
Cool.
Cool. Nice. Do you think that's like teeing up some of the stuff we've been talking about so far? Because just by the title, Padawan Lost, and knowing where things go, it's making me think things.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Little teaser.
All right.
I'm just saying that I already skipped ahead.
Yeah. It's a good, like, especially now, it's like getting to the point where it's like I just want to keep watching more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good because there's so many we've skipped that someday I'm just gonna be like, hey, I got a ton more content to watch.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, you can just go back and watch the
That's
full
very true.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will always just skip the terrible ones though.
I did-
trust you
You've seen
so
a few,
much.
right?
I watched one of the ones you marked terrible. I think it was the first one on the list. It was
Oh, that was the one with Jar Jar and
Bail Organa.
yeah.
At the dinner party.
No thanks.
That was something.
Was that the one where they went to the Toydarians?
Yeah, and that set up the Yoda meeting for ambush.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting little thread.
Yeah.
But-
I didn't include a lot of Padme episodes, if you guys have figured that.
Yeah, I've wondered that. is there anything worth watching with her? Like, okay, so any of the things you cut,
Yeah.
did they involve Anakin and Padme?
Yes, in a dumb way.
Okay.
There's an arc where there's this senator, like former senator, I think, Clovis, that it seems that Padme had a romantic relationship with.
Oh,
and
that's
it's
the one I watched.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
and it's all about Anakin being jealous of him in like a boyish way. And I'm like, I mean, like take it or leave it. Some people might like it. I didn't care for it, and it doesn't progress anything.
I liked it.
Yeah. So like again, there's a subjectivity with the episodes. There is one with Mon Mothma,
Oh, interesting.
but I don't know.
So are there any Padme ones in the ones that you've marked for us?
The one with enemies on both sides.
Oh, Heroes.
Heroes on both sides. I think that's a good episode. You guys like that one?
Yeah, it's good.
I think it's a cool perspective to see the Separatists.
Yeah.
As just like this is how we are, and like the droids are like cut clothes for them, and they're just like, oh, can you help me where I'm going? Thought that was cool.
Yeah,
for sure.
So you guys aren't concurrently watching season 7 as it comes out.
No, are you watching it?
Big time.
Yes.
I've liked what I've seen.
Okay.
I won't spoil it for you guys.
2 episodes so far?
2 episodes. These are episodes that were pre-rendered back in the day that they're just bringing back and like fleshing it out. So like kind of already, I didn't read into it, but I sort of kind of know what happens already.
Okay.
It's a 4-episode arc from what I've heard. Wish it was a little shorter. I like them, but I'm disappointed that they don't focus on Ahsoka.
Okay.
So far.
I
I kind of wish, like I've said, Ahsoka's my top 2. Maybe by the end of this episode, she's my number 1 character. But I wish, like, going back into season 7, they would just open on Ahsoka somewhere on Coruscant, probably.
It's 12 episodes for season 7, right?
12 to 14. We were wondering this.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I have no clue.
Okay. So, I'm sure that. So you said the first 2 were already planned.
First 2 already came out. Yeah, the first 4 episodes, I believe, are from the arc that they already had.
Okay. So maybe we might be caught up or close to caught up by the time they start digging into this new parallel episode 3 stuff that they were teasing.
I think we're really getting there. Fast.
Yeah, we're close.
Yeah,
and
coming in hot.
Season 6 is short, like you said.
Yep.
Season 5 about the same length as 4 and 3.
The best season of the Clone Wars.
Okay, so
Wow.
yeah,
The best is yet to come.
can't
Well,
wait.
I kind of hope so for me, too. Because season 7 so far is awesome. Like, those 2 episodes are great.
Yeah, I've seen positive reactions to him. So
It's questionable. I really want to know, like, I want them to be like, hey, it's Star Wars Revenge of a Jedi right now, or Revenge of a Sith right now. Like, I really want an explicit, like, this is the time period.
I'm sure they'll get there at some point, right?
Probably.
Yeah, from my understanding, it seems like they do the Siege of Mandalore in that season.
Okay.
And I believe that takes place during Order 66.
I'm not familiar with that.
I mean, I think so.
I think you're probably right.
So hopefully we get that.
Very cool. My hopes might be too high, but considering how much this version of Anakin has made me love him even more, and I know you're really high on him too, I would very much enjoy seeing at least like a shorter version of Anakin versus Obi-Wan in season 7.
We were talking about
We were
this today.
talking about that.
I would really like to see this.
Well, I think it has to happen, right? Because like this whole series is very Anakin and Obi-Wan heavy.
yeah.
And if they didn't have some sort of resolution to it in the TV show, it would feel weird.
I would think so, but at the same time, I feel like there's been so many instances of people saying like, oh, they can't do this in the Obi-Wan series because it's already been done in Rebels. I don't know if that's just people's opinions. I don't know if there's a precedent for not repeating content that they did in the shows and the films, but
I was telling Mike about this. I hope there's a really cool montage. It seems like Ahsoka and maybe Darth Maul fight in season 7 would be really cool. Duel of the Fates play. Ahsoka, Darth Maul, cut. Anakin, Obi-Wan, cut.
Simultaneous?
Emperor Yoda.
Okay, that I think that might be the route we get.
That would
I
be
think it's
cool.
probably.
That seems most likely.
Could
yeah.
you imagine that? That would be dope.
Do you think that would make you like the Yoda Emperor fight more?
No.
We could cut that one. Let's
Yeah,
cut it. Filoni, cut it.
I really don't like anything with Yoda.
Even animated?
Even animated.
Wow, okay.
Get that out of here.
So what do you think of this other shorter Jedi Master doing similar Yoda
That's
flips?
fine.
So just no Yoda.
Just no Yoda.
Yeah, it does kind
It's
of
fine.
weaken Yoda.
Yeah, I don't even know who this guy is. I can't even tell you what his name
Evan
is.
Peel, bro.
Why
Thank
is
you.
his name Evan?
He's got one eye.
He's a Russian. He's like a Russian alien in the Star Wars universe. His name is Evan.
Wait, was his name Evan? Did I pull that out of somewhere?
Yeah, it's like spelled weird though.
Oh, right.
EVON,
Yeah.
probably.
Something like that.
That's a Star Warsy name. Well, I think we've exhausted the Clone Wars convo this week.
Yeah.
Unless you guys have any final words on this week in Clone Wars. No.
Nothing to say here.
The best is yet to come.
That's some big talk because
So
we've
buckle
had
up.
some good weeks.
We've had some really good weeks.
Yo, I gotta say, so they introduced Savage Opress and like on his journey to find Darth Maul.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't get resolved until the end of season 4.
Oh man!
It's a ride. It takes a while.
All right.
So strap in.
Well, good thing I don't really care about it anyways.
Mm.
to be
Yeah, I
honest.
wasn't too hot on him.
Yeah, he's a little silly.
Well,
And
Also-
why is his name not Savage?
Yeah, it's a little. Also, Mike and I were talking about Ventress.
mm-hmm.
Like, she's evil, and they try to really like give her some like background that like try to make you more sympathetic to her.
Mm-hmm.
But so like she straight up stabs a clone, kisses him on the cheek, and then like lets him like fall off and die.
Yeah,
Can't come back from that.
yeah. We kind of came down on the idea that she's just like a cartoony villain
Mm-hmm.
that is here to let Anakin have lightsaber fights. So,
Yeah.
Yep, that's pretty much her purpose.
which is a bummer because like a Sith assassin seems like a really cool concept, but it seems like that was kind of a proto Inquisitor
Yeah, definitely.
as far as what we see now with like Fallen Order and Rebels and stuff like that.
You're
Mhm.
definitely right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe that will do it for this week, though.
All right.
Cool.
Oh, before I forget too, I mentioned this before the show. The droid that was like running operations at this base, at this Jedi prison thing,
Mm-hmm.
was dedicated to Kobe Bryant. Because if you didn't notice, it is purple and gold, like the Lakers. Kobe was a huge Star Wars fan, and I believe, I forget, Kobe's number is 24.
Yeah.
3?
24, I think.
4? I don't know.
Because I think the droid's name is like K2B4.
Mm.
Because the people who make the series were big Lakers fans, and they wanted to like
That's
shout him
nice.
out.
That's cool.
R.I.P. Kobe.
Yeah. So, fun little thing to end on.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Jack,
Yes.
thank you for joining us.
Yes, I will return to the Nether after this.
Oh no, you're good now. You're a clone.
Oh, I can.
You're,
Oh,
you're
oh,
living.
sweet.
Jackson's on his podcast.
I got
every
another-
week from now on.
I got another 10 years until I
Yeah, you might have to like
disintegrate. Yeah,
you might
right.
have to like inhabit the body of your granddaughter or something if you want to keep living in a couple years.
Sure.
But,
Yeah, I'll just have a random family that doesn't really matter, and then
Yeah.
cool.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
So on that journey, where can people find you?
On that journey, you can find me at Fascinated Jack on Twitter and Instagram.
Very nice, Mike. What about you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Mike P. Connors.
Wonderful. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, it's at Chris N. Buckley. All of these links will be in the description of the YouTube video. And if you're watching the YouTube video, you're on youtube.com/joyclicks, where there is loads of other content going up pretty much daily at this point. If you're listening to us, though, you're on a podcast service, or you have a YouTube video in a different tab, because I do that sometimes, and I don't know why.
I do that too.
Yeah.
Same.
So
I watch you guys on YouTube.
I appreciate that.
That's my preferred method.
Oh, nice. So you like seeing our beautiful faces.
Absolutely.
See, I like watching podcasts on YouTube sometimes because you get like specific inflection better,
Yeah.
you know? And like if there's been times where I've said a thing and Mike gives me a look and you don't get that in the audio version.
Yeah.
True.
So I appreciate that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But those Spotify recaps, man, they make me like want to just re-listen to episodes of my favorite shows so I can wear that with pride at the end of the year. Be like, hey, you want to see my top listened to podcast on Spotify?
Yeah,
It's
true.
my podcast.
I'm a real fan. So if you do listen on podcast services and you can rate or subscribe or review the show, that would be very much appreciated.
Also, if you can, give us money on Patreon.
Yeah,
Why not?
that's listed in the description. The big selling point of the Patreon at this point in time is you get a full-length commentary of my friend Noah watching the the first Star Wars for the first time. Spoiler alert, she hates it, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's good.
It's quite hilarious.
So
There's also a little teaser, I think, on the YouTube page.
there is, yeah, there's a like 10 or so minute highlight reel of that. So
Nice.
people have been very mean on that video. I'll say
boy.
that.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
People have been so mean.
Yeah.
I believe I watched the cut that you gave me. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's pretty funny.
loads of Star Wars content on this here channel for you to check out and enjoy if you choose to do so. But until next time, we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
May the Force be with you.
See, that's a good Chewie.
That is a good show.
General Kenobi.